Hi, I'm Paul, the running shoe guru. This is Marathon Handbook, and in this video, we're going to look at how you can achieve a sub 17-minute 5K run. Why 5K, first of all? Well, 5K is a very achievable distance for a lot of people, and since the advent of parkrun, it's become more and more popular for a mainstream event. In the UK, where we have a lot of parkruns, but they have spread out around the world now, parkruns take place every Saturday morning in a lot of local parks. They're on measured courses, and parkrun themselves make 17 minutes the kind of the target. They show people who've achieved 17 minutes on their results separately, and it's kind of a target, and it is an achievable target for a lot of people to attain if they're putting the work in. I'm assuming if you are watching this video, you are quite close to 17 minutes. Kind of may have two categories of people: those who are around the 17:10 to 17:30 kind of mark, so they're aiming for that 17-minute target every week, and those are around 18 minutes that want to take off a big chunk, which a minute is a big chunk really. We're assuming that you are doing a weekly schedule of running. Let's break it down a little bit into, if you are close, how you may get there sooner rather than later just by making a few specific changes. I mentioned there a minute ago about people that do parkrun every single week, and there are a lot of them about. And often when you do that, it's going to be your hardest run of the week, it's going to be your race if you like, so they're attacking the distance again and again and again every 7 days. And that approach, really, you can't expect to pay dividends every single time. You'll reach a plateau, you'll get to that point where you're running hard, you're putting in a lot of effort, but you're just missing it, it's not working. So if that's the case, really you need to stand back a bit and look at your training, what's going on. And the easiest thing may be just to take a couple of weeks off parkrun, do a couple of weeks of interval type sessions. We're going to come on to specific sessions that you can do. Give the body a little bit of a reset, and then 2-3 weeks down the line, go for it all out, and you may see a big improvement. Another reason why you may not be hitting the 17-minute target might be pacing as well. This is particularly interesting at parkrun events and at a lot of 5K events really, because in 5Ks you get a wide range of ages taking part. I was doing a 5K last week, and there were youngsters, 13, 14-year-olds taking part all the way up to 16, 17-year-olds. And what you will find is the vast majority of people, even experienced athletes sometimes, set off way too quick. And if these youngsters go blasting out the blocks at the beginning, they kind of carry a lot of people with them, and it drags a lot of the field away to a very quick start. It's one of the hardest things to do in reining yourself in and controlling the pace in the opening stages of not just a 5K but any race, because you feel fresh, you're raring to go, the gun goes, boom, off you go. If you are just missing your target, look at how the pace has turned out for the last few runs when you just missed it. Look at those mile splits, and I'll bet the first one has always been significantly quicker, maybe 10 seconds or so quicker than mile 2 and 3. 5K 17 minutes, we'll say it's 5:30 per mile. So it's 3.1 miles, 5,000 meters, 5 kilometers. We're splitting into miles. 3 miles at 5:30 is 16:30, and then you've got 30 seconds for the 0.1, so it's a big sprint. So what I would like you to try, if you're just missing it and your pace is a little bit off, set off a little bit slower, maybe 10 seconds, because that will make a difference. So using that strategy, you should find that in the second mile, you kind of got a little bit more left. First of all, you can start closing the gaps down on those that have set off too quick, and they will start coming back towards you. So you'll gain a little bit of confidence, and then in mile 3, that's it. 1 mile to go, give it your all, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you should sneak under the 17-minute barrier. Another thing to look at is the course that you're running on. If you're aiming for a specific course and that 17-minute barrier, then of course it would work in your favour to choose the flattest, easiest course and not one that's very hilly. But if you're aiming for 17 minutes on a park run, often by the nature of the event, that in parks, there's going to be hills. So look at the course. Think about how you felt on particular parts of that course in the past. 2 park runs that I will do are quite hilly, and it really takes it out of you. And I think you really have to learn how to run and learn how to run that course specifically to get the best out of it. So think about your particular course, think about where the hills take place. You want to attack the hills, you want to push up them, but you want to run over the top and on the other side on the descent. What I try and do is attack the hills, work hard, not flat out, but run over the hill, get 10, 20 meters over the hill at the same effort, the same intensity. And as the hill drops off and it's going to come down again, what goes up comes down. On the downhill, relax the arms, relax the shoulders, think tall, lengthen your stride, deep breaths from the bottom of your lungs, and really suck some air in and recover and get that air in and just get going again. Get the hill out of the legs and into your stride as quickly as possible. So it does take a little bit of practice. Working a hill session into your weekly training schedule may be the way to go if it's a particularly hilly course. In terms of hills and the courses that you're running on, examine the course, break it down into segments and think about where you can make the gains or where you're losing time. That's really where you're going to gain the extra seconds. So if it's on the hills, if it's on particularly twisty sections, if it is areas where they're slippy, for example, on the surface, which in the winter can be a major concern, ease off a little bit. Consider the 5K a little bit of an interval type race where you're going to go hard, recover and easy, and look at it like that, and that may gain some vital seconds for you. 2 points there with regards to the pacing and the course and the hills. We're just thinking about our approach to the event and not really adjusting our training as such. That's possible. Free time, that's extras that you can just chip away at next time. Also, without making adjustments, look at your current training. Think about where you structure your training around the run. Don't do a hard session in the day or two prior to the 5K. Ease it up a bit and just look about how you structure your week. With that in mind, I'm going to talk about some of the training sessions that you can incorporate into your weekly schedule that might give you a few more seconds and let you attack that barrier. I will call the 5K a distance run. It's an endurance based. And as with any event, any distance like that, I am assuming that you're already doing maybe 25 miles a week. That's the minimum you're going to have to be doing to break 17 minutes. Most people will do a Sunday or weekend long run. You've got your easy runs midweek as well. We're all doing those and we're all comfortable with that. And I think where the biggest gains are the sessions that you're doing. And if you're going to break it down very simply and you're able to manage 2 speedwork sessions a week, and I think you can for 5K, the volume of the mileage in those sessions doesn't have to be too high or too great a volume or workload. It's 3 miles, 5,000 meters, so it's easy to break down into segments. So you can do longer repetitions, longer intervals, so you could do 5 times a kilometre or 3 times a mile. The target pace, we would like it to be a little bit under the 5:30 race pace. So I think you want to be aiming for around 5:20s, because when you're doing any interval session, you're going to have recoveries as well. You could make it real simple and do 3 times 1 mile or 5 times 1K. I would always probably go a little bit extra, and if I was training specifically for 5K, do 4 times a mile or 6 times a kilometre. So you've got a little bit extra in the bag, a little bit more speed endurance in the legs. Depending how used you are to interval type sessions, if you've not tried them before and if you've been running close to 17 minutes just off everyday running, doing a harder run, doing an easy run, how playing it by ear, seeing how you feel, then well done, because when you do start implementing this type of interval session into the week, you're going to smash it. You really are, because this is where the results are going to come. So you're going to do 5 or 6 times a kilometre efforts. So that's going to be faster than race pace. If you are starting off, do 2 minutes recovery. As you progress over the weeks and months, you want to do that session once a week. You want to reduce that recovery. I would start by reducing it down to 1:45 for a couple of weeks, then 1:30, 75 seconds, or 1 minute. The ability to do that session with a 1 minute recovery is the sweet spot, and that's where you're going to get maximum gains from both the speed, endurance, and recovery aspects of it. Of course, in the race, there's no recovery, but by doing just over race distance and doing it a little bit quicker than race pace, that's where you're getting that extra bit of speed when it comes to race day. You can do all kinds of sessions, and this video isn't about giving you session after session like 12 400s or 12 quarter miles or 6 half-mile reps, anything like that. You can work those out for yourself, and I think part of the fun of running is working out your own thing as well. And it doesn't have to be strict set distances. You could literally do to the corner of your street, to the top of the hill, to the next bus stop, to the shop on the corner, that kind of thing. Break it up what works for you. It all boils down to the fact that some of your training each week has to be faster than race pace, broken up with small recoveries. And when you master that, work it out, put it into your plan each week, and that's, it is going to work. If you're going to fit 2 sessions a week, many people will already be doing that. I would do the longer type session, and I would consider a long session kilometre to 1 mile reps, and then the shorter session, which may be 1 minute or 400 metre quarter mile reps. If you're doing quarter miles, you want to do 12 or 13, 2 minutes recovery, reduce the recovery over the coming weeks, and try and keep that pace under that 5:20 kind of pace. They're tough sessions. If you've not done them before, probably by the end of them, you're going to be bent over breathing really hard. But you'll get into them. Remember, you're only going a little bit quicker than race pace. The recovery will get your breath back and you'll be ready to go again. And these sessions are also good for learning pace as well. So I mentioned earlier about setting off too fast in the race. If you set off too fast doing 75 seconds, 5-minute mile pace on your reps, then you're not going to get to the end of the session. Work out the interval, work out the speed. With the shorter one, sometimes it's good on a weekly basis to replace that with strides or hill sprints. Strides are really about working on your form, be tall, drop the shoulders, pump the arms, lift the knees, stride out, okay? These aren't flat out sprints. It's best to find a gradual gradient on the road, and you want to do a stride of about 100 metres, so you're picking up the pace, up the hill, thinking about form. The best way to think of it is if one of your friends drives past in the car, they're going to look at you and say, wow, Paul looks good tonight. Think of that form, the nice long stride, relaxed arms, relaxed shoulders, striding out. Walk back down, jog back down the hill. And this isn't a steep hill, this is a gradual hill. Strides aren't an all-out flat effort. They can be incorporated into the end of a steady or an easy run. They're just a little bit extra to work on form, develop your stride length, and just keep the legs turning over, yeah? Because if you're running steady all the time, you need to introduce that speed element. So strides are a good thing to introduce to your weekly schedule, regardless of the distance, whether it be mile, 5K or marathon. This isn't a set training plan. If you have got questions about how to structure it in a little bit more depth, put a specific question in the comments below. I always try and answer every single question, but it's just a few ideas to help you implement into your weekly schedule that are going to help you break 17 minutes for 5 kilometers. Once again, thanks for watching. I hope it's proved useful, and I hope it's given you a few pointers to think about going forward. Good luck with your next race. Let me know if any of these things have worked for you. Give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that kind of thing. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.